Good afternoon, I'm Milton Walker, the Midday News. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well that you can watch TVJ Live by downloading our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1, followed by the words Spot Media. The weather is a big story this afternoon, with flooding in some areas after several hours of rain in parts of the country. In fact, flood caused by the rains precipitated a dramatic rescue in Sunnyside, Linstead this morning. We'll get to that in a moment, as well as to reports of some of the other areas where there's been flooding. First though, let's tell you what's been causing the flooding. The flooding has resulted from a trough that's continuing to influence weather conditions across the island. Across to the Met Office, satellite imagery and radar reports indicated light to moderate showers affected all parishes, especially sections of central and eastern parishes throughout the night. As a result, a flash flood warning remains in effect for southern and northeastern parishes. This includes St. Mary, Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland. There's also a flash flood watch in effect for low-lying and flood-prone areas of Hanover, St. James, Trelawney and St. Anne until 5 this afternoon. The Met Office says projections are for light to moderate and at times heavy showers along with thunderstorms to affect all sections of parishes until Thursday. Now to the flooding. As we reported, there was a dramatic rescue this morning in Sunnyside, Linstead, St. Catherine. The Rio Magna, which hasn't seen significant volumes of water, swelled to a torrent overnight, flooding the community. The floodwaters quickly rose, forcing some persons to seek refuge on a wall in the community, waiting to be rescued. Dashan Hendricks picks up the story.
Dramatic scenes shown here from an amateur cameraman shooting with his phone in Guyzale, St. Catherine.
We're at the main road that leads to Guyzale, Redwood, and all those areas, St. Mary, lead you to St. Mary. And this is the main road, cut right in two.
A road transformed into a river, cutting off residents. Some have been marooned on the other side since last night. The alternative route is also cut off as the rivers in the area overflow, close to farms which are now inaccessible.
I don't know what the government is going to do this time. The last time they do a makeshifting. Look at it now. Just back it up with bowlers. They put some big bowlers that only 3 could hold on a truck.
The residents believe they will be marooned for a long time unless help comes quickly. In Dover, St. Catherine, similar scenes.
Right along, look here. People look here, road gone at Dover Gully. What a road gone. Yeah man, a road gone, me I tell you man. Road gone, clean, 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 clean.
Flat bridge in the Bogwalk Gorge was similarly impassable, as shown by this still, as the Rio Cobre overflows its banks. Here in Spanish Town, a stone's throw from the hospital, in the vicinity of the old iron bridge, a clear picture of the muddy Rio Cobre. Waters which are normally 50 feet below the road surface, almost within touching distance from the top of the bridge. At the intersection of Brunswick Avenue and Walks Road in Spanish Town, the road was impassable also to pedestrians. Only heavy-duty vehicles could make it through the water. In Sunnyside, Linstead, things were anything but for this family.
We need help at Sunnyside. Sunnyside, St. Catherine, Linstead. This lady is outside from after 3 this morning with her twins, and we have been calling for help. The babies, they are in their hands.
They were eventually rescued, but will no doubt be telling this tale for a long time. Dashan Hendricks, TVJ News.
Now, the Jamaica Fire Brigade and the Jamaica Defence Force had to undertake a rescue mission in Sunnyside. You just saw in Linstead. A reporter, Anthony Lugg, is standing by in Sunnyside with someone who can tell us what happened this morning. Anthony?
Hi, thanks Milton. Good afternoon. I'm here in the Sunnyside community just outside of Linstead in St. Catherine, where residents were forced to stay in their homes about 4 o'clock just because of heavy rainfalls. Now, The fire brigade was called out here, as well as members from the Jamaica Defense Force, in an effort to rescue persons who were trapped in their homes. Residents were forced to stand. Residents were also forced to go on their rooftops. I'm standing here with Miss Angela Jackson, who also experienced a very tragic situation. Can you tell me about what happened here today?
About 3 o'clock this morning, the river broke its bank. And when we found out that it broke its bank, we came to the front and we could not come out. The only thing I could think of was my neighbor next door who have 5 children. And we went and called her. She happened to bring 2 of the children and we rescued them through the water and take them. The other 3 couldn't come back. So she had to sit on the wall for a while there with the children and the toddlers there. And I've been calling from that time for help to rescue them. And all I've been hearing, somebody will be coming, somebody will be coming. But eventually the fire truck came, and when they come, they couldn't do anything. They could just only stand on the hill and look. The JDF came as well, and it couldn't do anything. And there was another lady in another house around there. She had a little man was in there, couldn't come out as well. Says when later on some guys came down and they had a rope and they go across to help the lady with the toddlers to get her across. But in my house, I have lost a lot of things. At 92 Sunnyside, Mackenzie Drive. The shop there, everything is gone. The fridge has been broken. In my bedroom, bed wet up with TV. The car itself has been flooded out. A lot of things we have lost.
Talk to me about the reaction from your family members in your house throughout all of this.
Everybody was kind of scared because normally when we get the flood, we have this nervous stomach that we want to go to the bathroom every time we get this, because we don't know what is going to happen. I've been back here about 10 years now, and it's the first I've seen the river behave this way. It's really the first, and it was really scary this morning.
And how do we move forward? How do you move forward? How do you pick up the pieces and move forward?
First thing I must say, I have lives, I have to give God thanks for that. And I just have to move on, pick up the pieces, do what I can do. Or if I have to move, then I just have to move. There's nothing more I can do.
All right, there you have it. You heard it from Miss Angela Jackson here in Sunnyside, St. Catherine, just outside of Linstead. Also, Milton, I must add, behind me is a truck that was turned over just because of the water, that took its course and came here and overturned this truck here. So I'm here standing just outside of Sunnyside, St. Catherine in Linstead. Back to you, Milton.
Thanks, Anthony. In the meantime, the Bogwart Gorge in St. Catherine is now closed as water from the rear Corbry has flooded sections of the roadway, and the water level is rising steadily at the old pedestrian bridge in Spanish Town. There have also been reports of flooding in other parts of St. Catherine, such as St. John's Road in the capital, Spanish Town. And motorists are being advised to avoid the following locations in Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine as a result of flooding caused by heavy rains. In St. Catherine, apart from the Bogwart Gorge, Sunnyside, Linstead and St. John's Road, as we've reported earlier, there's also flooding in sections of Churchpen. Meanwhile, the environs of Kingston and St. Andrew, the following areas are to be noted. Spanish Town Road in St. Andrew near 6 miles to 3 miles, Hagley Park Road near Portia Simpson Miller Square, sections of Maxwell Avenue, Harbour Street, sections of Wynwood Road, sections of Deanery Road and Mountain View Avenue, parts of Michael Manley Boulevard heading towards the airport. Harbour View near St. Benedict's Primary School, Camp Road and South Camp Road intersections as well, and an area known as Little Spring in Gordon Town as well as Mona Road. Motorists are also advised that the roadway at Marcus Garvey Drive East and West is now passable. And with the heavy rains pelting the island since last night, drains and gullies have been severely tested. In the corporate area, several gullies have seen water levels rise overnight. In the northern section of the city in Manor Park, Cassava Piece and Red Hills Road areas, the gullies have been converted into major waterways. There were no signs of flooding on streets in those areas this morning. Meanwhile, there are reports of severe flooding in the Mountain View area. And with the heavy rains and flooding in parts of the island, in St. Catherine, there are also reports of crocodiles being seen in Greater Portmore. At this spot in Greater Portmore, residents observe this crocodile very close to their homes. If the crocodiles have ventured or been washed into your community, persons are being advised to avoid the reptiles and call the National Environment Protection Agency, NEPA. Stay away from those crocs. And Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid is advising that all schools should be closed today except those in the parishes of Westmoreland, Hanover and St. James due to the inclement weather. Senator Reid addressed the concern for students sitting regional and international exams.
I have also indicated that because of the condition of the road, many students will not be able to be transported to school. So in that event, schools generally will be disrupted across the island. Principals and staff themselves may have difficulty getting to schools, and that equally will impact on students sitting CXC exams. Those persons should still try, if possible, to get to the exam centers or the exam center nearest to them. In the event that they are unable so to do, we'll have to make other arrangements with CXC invoking the hardship clause. So this is very important for those students in the exam that they endeavor to go to the nearest center, in which then we'll have to ensure that they are not adversely affected by invoking the hardship clause, which means therefore there are other provisions for them to get their CXC awards at a later date.
Education Minister Ruel Reid. And for an update on what's happening on the nation's roads, we are joined now by Communications Manager at the National Works Agency, Stephen Shaw. Stephen, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Stephen, can you give me a sense what's happening? Where are the main roads that are currently blocked or impassable because of flooding or landslides? Let's start with the corporate area.
Well, we have a number of areas around the country that are being impacted by landslides and flooding. In terms of the North Coast, we have the junction in St. Mary. We had significant flooding in the town of Port Maria, also in St. Mary. In Portland, the road from Hector's River to Muirton was being impacted by two landslides, blocking that one fully. So to get to Fair Prospect right now is a challenge. We have flooding at Folly in Port Antonio, and Boundbrook is also being impacted by flooding. In St. Thomas, the road from Bass to Bass Fountain, that is being impacted by a massive break. A serious hole has been created in that road, and right now, to get to Bass Fountain by motor vehicle certainly is a challenge. We had flooding in Pamphlet, in St. Andrew, the road from Papine up to Red Light, that's through Newcastle, was and is still being impacted by landslides. We had a report earlier, somebody calling in the office to say that a bus, the embankment had toppled onto a bus in that area. That is checked on. Also in Gordon, we have some issues. Plumstead, that is in the Guava Ridge area, landslide, they are blocking that area, so that is inaccessible at this time. St. Catherine, the gorge, as you know, is the real Cobra is in state. Water is as high as the traffic signal by Flatbridge. Akiwalk, we're watching that situation. That is when it turned at Caymanas to go to Portmore. The road has been reduced. The slip road has been reduced to single lane. A lot of water in that area, and we're advising extreme caution. Devil's Race Course, we also have a lot of water around there in Clarendon, the north and the south of Clarendon. We have a lot of landslides and flooding. The Rio Minnow is in state and causing a lot of challenges in Manchester. We have flooding at Belfie in the Cedar Grove here. The housing development there is sections are flooded. The Belfield Road is impassable in Manchester. In Westmoreland, significant flooding in areas such as Little London, Petersfield, 3 Miles River, Unity. All of these areas are being impacted by flooding. In Trelawney, we have landslides along the road from Albert Town to Highgate Hall. In Troy, we also have landslides. So we have issues right around the island that are built up.
Stephen, I didn't hear you mention Cave Valley, and we were told that Cave Valley is a particular problem, and someone even suggested that it was similar to what occurred a few years ago when water levels rose
Yes.
over 10 feet and remained that way for quite a while.
Yes, we do have a tremendous amount of flooding in the Cave Valley, Plain and Town areas. We had at one stage earlier this morning about 17 feet of water, 17 feet above the road. That is, 2 bridges in northern Clarendon have been washed away too. These are pedestrian type structures, and so there is going to be the need for us to get all our technical crews or technical teams to look at this or these and the other challenges that have been really dumped on us by this weather system.
What about drains? It's the perennial problem that you hear residents complain that drains were not cleaned, and of course when you have heavy rains, the drainage system becomes overwhelmed at times.
We have a mitigation program that we're right now undertaking, where we're spending $71 million across the country. But given the fact that a combination of things, one, we have been having heavy rains in many sections of the island. So the aquifers, the underground water facilities would have been full. And so you'll find more water running off. Some of the areas, many of the areas that have been impacted are low-lying, that lends themselves to flooding. So, I mean, even with the cleaning of the drains that we have in many of these areas, we have capacity issues because the systems are not designed to accommodate so much water in such a short space of time.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Stephen Shaw, Communications Manager at the National Works Agency. And this just into our news center, a message from the Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, which you know, he is actually in the Dominican Republic on an official visit. And Prime Minister Andrew Holness has instructed that all national emergency systems to be activated as heavy rainfall continues to affect sections of the island. The emergency agencies, including the National Works Agency, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, as well as local representatives. The Prime Minister says all the agencies should mobilize their resources to deal with the impact of this extraordinary rain event and to support residents who may need assistance in flooded areas. The Prime Minister is urging persons to be on high alert as the rain is expected to continue throughout the day. Extensive flooding has so far been reported in the parishes of St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester and St. Anne, as well as in St. Thomas. In the meantime, following discussions with Prime Minister Holness, the Acting Prime Minister Dr. Horace Chang will make a statement in Parliament this afternoon on the emergency processes that have been activated and the preliminary assessment of damage caused by the heavy rainfall. The island remains under a flash flood warning for low-lying and flood-prone areas. The National Met Service issued a warning for the parishes of St. Mary, Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland. A flash flood watch is also in place for low-lying and flood-prone areas of Hanover, St. James, Trelawney and St. Anne until 5 p.m. today. So that from the Prime Minister, who is in the Dominican Republic. He left yesterday for that official visit, activating the emergency systems across the island. And we go now to our reporter, Shamela Mitchell, who is in St. Thomas, one of the parishes hardest hit by the rainfall. We join her now. Shamela, what can you tell us is happening where you are? Oh, we don't have Shamela just yet. You would have heard me mention earlier to Stephen Shaw, the communications manager, about the situation in Cave Valley in southern St. Anne, and we have our correspondent Lloyd Hines in Cave Valley. Lloyd, you've been there since morning. What's the situation now in Cave Valley?
Can you hear me well?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear. You're on. Tell us what's happening in Cave Valley, Lloyd.
Okay, I am having a problem hearing you. Anyhow, I am standing right on the hillside overlooking Cave Valley. Now, you will remember September 10th, 2004, in the past of Hurricane Ivan, when this same town was totally submerged underwater. Now, it is not as bad as it was that time, but enough to render vehicles, pedestrians, no passing through at this time. Now, the rains have somewhat subsided, but we see dark shadows that there will be more rains later on in the afternoon. Now, last night, based on what the residents have told me, the water was at about 7 feet high level last night. Now, at present, we are witnessing several shop owners. I am seeing now the owners of a large haberdashery and owners of a supermarket and, interestingly, a funeral home moving out their stocks right now based on the fact that their stores have been really damaged by water that went into their business places this morning. Now, several homes as well have been flooded out. Residents have moved out somehow. Some are seen now with their television sets, mattresses, trying to move to higher ground and hoping to return when the water recedes. Now, interestingly, and of course, sadly to say, there is no immediate alternative routes for motorists who are going through the K Valley area. And as a result, there are a lot of furious motorists and residents who have been stranded in this area from last night. I spoke to 1 or 2 persons who cannot pass through going onto Clarendon or Manchester. They are still right here at this location, you know. Now, as I speak, we are just hoping that things will be better. There are several scores of persons, and you know, it seems as if K Valley is always a site that people just come here to see what's happening because, you know, as the moment goes by, we see a lot of persons here, scores and virtually scores of people moving into the area just to witness what is happening in this area. But I must also speak about other areas in St. Anne that has been affected. The Cascade near Borbridge, that road is totally impassable at this time. There's an area in the Douglas Castle area where residents have been marooned, and I understand that members from the Disaster Preparedness Committee, along with members from the St. Anne Municipal Council, are heading in that area to see if they can help those residents to leave those areas. The Limehall Road is partially blocked in that in northeast St. Anne. There's a problem in the Moneague area where several persons have been evacuated this morning by members of the Disaster Preparedness Group. So basically right now we are just, as I said, it's a wait and see. The residents are hoping that the water will subside. The motorists are waiting and hoping that the water will subside, that they can at least go through to get to their homes this afternoon. Other than that, they will have to go as far as to the Claremont area, which is southeast St. Anne, and take it across to the Jamesville area to get home, of which most of them have said that that's a long distance to go.
All right, Lloyd, we're just seeing some scenes from K Valley with some extensive flooding there. So to recap, there are no reports of injuries, but there's been some damage to homes and persons obviously been flooded, so they may lose some furniture and stuff like that.
Thankfully, Milton, there is no reports of injuries at this time. The residents, no report of injuries. No report of any total loss in terms of, pets or anything like that. But certainly, and as I'm speaking to you, I'm now looking way across the distance of residents moving out. The supermarkets, they are loading large trucks. So basically what is happening now is just an evacuation from the town center, the business places in the town center, and the residents who are living in this vicinity.
Okay. Lloyd Hines reporting from K Valley in St. Anne, our correspondent, talking to us there about the situation in K Valley. Not as bad as it was in September 2004. Let's go now to St. Thomas, where our reporter, Shamela Mitchell, is there. It's one of the hardest hit parishes. And we are joining now Shamela Mitchell. Shamela, where are you in St. Thomas?
This is the Council Main Road in St. Thomas. The road is now impassable due to the heavy rain since last night. Quite a number of vehicles are now precautions. We have Jeffrey here with us. Jeffrey, tell us what's happening out here. Has it always been like this?
Yeah, it's always been like this. Every time the rain falls, come, flood out the whole road, flood out my business place. And we need the road to be fixed. You know, make a proper drain, go across the road so it can clear the water off the road. So everything can run normal. A lot of people get trapped.
So have you spoken to the authorities about this?
No, I don't spoke to them, but they all see it, so I guess they had a plan to fix it, but they have to do it early on.
And that's the situation now in St. Thomas. I'm Shamela Mitchell for TVJ News.
Shamela Mitchell reporting there from Pamphlet in St. Thomas. And that's all we have for the midday news today. Milton Walker join us at 7 for primetime news, when we'll have much more on what's happening across the island in some of the areas which we didn't get to show you. We will in our primetime newscast at 7. On behalf of our news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.